Hey everyone, I'm Heather and welcome back to my channel. So we are back today with the Radiance. In the last one we had our free weekend where we chose skills to boost up really. We had an event which we did fail obviously because no skill points were high enough at that point to pass the event. We have a current one that we will be doing. That's where we ended last time. So we'll see how that one goes. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm heading back to my room when I see the history professor poke his head out of the classroom door as I pass. Miss Ash. Hello, Professor Mordain. I wonder if I could trouble you for a favor. I need to return this book to the librarian at once, but I am absolutely swamped with work. Do you think you could run it by the library for me? There would be merits in it for you. Sounds like an easy job. Besides, how can I say no to the professor when he asks so nicely? Sure, Professor. I'll drop this by the library for you. Excellent. He pulls out an absolutely enormous leather-bound book and hands it to me. I feel like it almost weighs me down as I grasp it in both hands. There's no title on the front or spine, and it looks to be very, very old. Just hand this directly to the librarian. It's part of her personal collection, so she needs to receive it personally. Got it. Oh, and Heather? Yes? Whatever you do, don't open it. Professor Mordain recedes back into his classroom and closes the door, leaving me alone with his ominous message. I walk towards the library, but I can't help but stare at the book. What could be in this book that would require me to take it to the librarian so urgently and yet not be able to even look inside? Is it the librarian's private journal? But no, that's silly. What would the professor be doing with the librarian's journal? Maybe it's full of love letters between them? That could be exciting and secretive, but Professor Mordain is so young and the librarian is quite old. Not that I'm in any place to judge. My curiosity is killing me. I almost wish that the professor had never even mentioned opening the book. I may have never even cared what was inside. Would I have even wanted to open it if I hadn't known it was forbidden? I'm not sure. I'm getting very close to the library now. If I want to see what's inside this book, it's now or never. Let's not open it. As tempting as it is, there has got to be a reason Professor Mordain insisted I leave it closed. There's probably also a reason he didn't tell me why. Perhaps whatever is in here is something that would be even more tempting if you know what was inside. But the danger must outweigh the benefits, and I trust Professor Mordain's judgment, so I decide to leave the book closed. I arrive at the library moments later, and the librarian rushes over. She was obviously waiting for this book to be returned. Oh, thank goodness, you didn't open it. Professor Mordain told me not to. Of course he did. This book can be very dangerous. Can I know what's in it? Let's just say it is incomprehensible magic. It can do great damage to an untrained magic user such as yourself if it is looked upon for too long. You may have gotten yourself killed. Well, I'm glad I avoided that. I got merits. I leave the library feeling good about my choices. My leadership increased. Okay. I returned to my room that evening, exhausted. Time for some sleep. Once again, I get that intense feeling of a dream that is not really a dream. Just a wash of colors and images taking over my consciousness. I sit up and stare into the darkness. This is the second time now that I've been woken by this feeling. Am I doomed to have my sleep interrupted forever? I'm not sure I like this method of receiving information. Not knowing when it is coming is not only jarring, but also completely useless. I never have time to actually grasp any of the images I'm seeing. I close my eyes in a feeble attempt to force the images back into my head. If I could just see them one more time. But it's no use. Whatever it was, it's gone. Just like the first time, it's nothing but a brief flash that I can't hold on to. I really need to consider spending more time controlling these visions. If nothing else, maybe I can stop them from interrupting my sleep. On Monday morning, I'm woken quite early by a sudden light filling the room. For a moment, I'm certain it's just Rayla turning on a light, but as usual, she's already gone. Instead, I see a glowing white orb of light floating silently in the middle of the room. Startled, I gather my bed covers around me, as if somehow they will save me from whatever this thing is. At first, the orb just floats there. Then, it speaks. "Good morning, Miss Ash. I've been asked to inform you that Headmaster Balin would like to see you in his office at your earliest convenience." "Good morning, orb thing." "I'm not an orb, I'm a wisp." "Oh, right, a wisp. What is a wisp?" "I'm not a what, I'm a who." Somehow the wisp's musical voice sounds almost offended. I fumble for how to respond to the creature, but it's had enough of me. It dissipates, leaving me in the dark once again. Well, I'd better not keep Professor Balin waiting. I should have time to stop by his office before classes. But first, I've got to choose my electives for the week. Okay. So astrology, we did that, and I think we did that. Maybe we do charm and leadership. Okay, let's do astrology. Oh no, I guess I only pick one. Okay. Should I again stick with the same? Might be. Control and power might be good. And then we'll just do astrology again. With my schedule completed, I quickly get dressed and head for the headmaster's office. I haven't been in the headmaster's office since my arrival a week ago, and once again, my eyes are automatically drawn towards the mirror, its surface swirling hypnotically. Thankfully, I don't have a chance to get lost in its bottomless facade again, as Professor Balin calls me in to sit down. "Good morning, Miss Ash. I see you got my message." "Yes, sir. Your, wisp came to visit me." "Ah, yes, but it's not mine per se. The wisps work for the school, mostly as messengers. Wisps can move very easily, so they are excellent for the job." "So, a wisp is a radiant?" "Well, yes, the wisps are an ancient race, much older than most, in fact. Sarenvale employs several of them to deliver news amongst the staff, but most wisps prefer to stay in their home in the forests, far away from the rest of the society. I apologize for not giving you fair warning. I'm sure it must have been startling to see one for the first time." "A little, but it's okay. I find it fascinating." "I'm sure it's not the first surprising thing you've encountered in your first week here, which is actually why I've called you in. I wanted to check in with you and find out how your first week with us at Sarenvale has gone. Did you have any difficulties?" I'm a little hesitant to burden the headmaster with my worries, but he did ask after all. "Well, I guess I'm a little concerned about my oracle abilities." "What about them exactly?" "That they don't work correctly." "What makes you think they're not working correctly?" The visions come so suddenly, and I'm never prepared. I've tried to hold on to the image, but it's completely out of my control. This is an understandable concern, but you should not be so hard on yourself. The mind is like any other muscle, Miss Ash, and in your current state, you are using part of your mind that you've never had access to before. With proper exercise, your mind will improve. So how exactly do I exercise it? Well, what have you tried so far? Not much, a little meditation, I guess. Then keep at it. You will learn some more efficient techniques in your Friday classes with me, but until then, don't stop trying. Meditation is an excellent way for a beginner to exercise her mind. You may feel like you are behind, but you'll be very surprised by how quickly things will come to you. Don't lose hope. Just like the first time I sat in Professor Balin's office, I found myself feeling instantly more relaxed at his words. Surely his siren abilities must have some ambient effect on my mood, even though he claims he does not use those abilities lightly. I think I know something that will help you. You do? I want to set you up with a special tutor. One that has a very strong mind abilities and can personally practice with you to see that you get a grasp of your visions. That sounds great. Remember our first meeting when you showed interest in the old mirror here in my study? How could I forget? It drew my attention once again the moment I entered the room today. I remember. It was called an oculus, wasn't it? Good memory. I also told you that an oculi, one of the radiants that live in the realm beyond the mirror, attends this school. That is who I'm going to have tutor you. I think back to the dark swirling surface of the oculus and remember how I envisioned some equally dark and scary entity that must live in there. So my tutor is going to be one of them? Oculi are extremely talented in the gifts of the mind. They specialize in farsight, the ability to see present events over any distance. They are also all destined for greatness. A large percentage of the great and terrible figures of radiant history have been oculi. They are truly remarkable beings. All this talk isn't really making me feel more at ease about the thought of being tutored by a mirror person. Don't call them mirror people, Heather. Pretty sure they wouldn't like that. In any case, I will set everything up for you and send a missive at the end of the week with the time and place. I am certain that you'll be able to master your visions in no time under his tutelage. The professor gives me a smile, then turns his back to me and busies himself with some other task. I am clearly dismissed. He didn't even tell me the name of my tutor. Time for today's elective class. We spend the class learning more about the history of astrology and radiant culture. I feel like I know a lot more about how magic works in the radiant world. Magic Theory 4, Insight 4. I arrived right on time for my second alchemy class, but after last week's potion explosion, I'm a little hesitant to return. The professor is already calling the class to attention and proceeds to deliver today's lab partner assignments. I look around and catch Sindra eyeing me warily. Please don't let me be paired with her again. She'd probably sabotage me on purpose or set me on fire, whichever. Heather, you'll be working with Mr. Yoshino today. I give a sigh of relief. Looks like I won't be burned today after all. Hey partner, ready to do some science? I'm pleased to see a familiar face in front of me. I'm about as ready as I'll ever be. I just realized I've run into you a couple times now, but I haven't even officially introduced myself. My name's Heather. Oh, I know. Everyone knows your name by now. Do they? You think a human can join our little school without the old gossip wheel churning non-stop? I couldn't escape that rumor mill if I wanted to. I don't know if I want to be part of the rumor mill. Oh, I totally didn't mean it that way. I really should learn to shut up. Let's just start over. He reaches his hand out and I take it, shaking it vigorously. Nice to meet you, Heather. I'm Kayushino. Nice to meet you, Kayushino. So what kind of science are we doing today? I glance over our instruction sheet. This doesn't appear much different from last week's assignment. It's just a matter of mixing the proper ingredients. After last week's disaster, I'm determined to read this list over at least twice before I add anything to the pot. Here, you start mixing the first set of ingredients. I'll work on this part. We get to work following the instructions carefully. Apparently, the strange contraption on the desk is called an alembic and is used to distill the chemical mixture. It looks like something I think I may have seen in a video game at some point, but I suppose they don't have video games here. I'm actually pretty glad you showed up. That means I'm no longer the new kid. You were the new kid? Before me, I mean? Sure was. I transferred here from Riverscar. And, judging by the blank look you're giving me, you have no idea where that is. You have guessed correct. Human, remember? I barely know where I am now. Oh, so young, so innocent. I'm going to have a great time educating you. Riverscar isn't far from here. It's another university like Sarenvale, except it's exclusive for Therians. And what are Therians? Shifters, or any radiant whose race is mixed with an animal, like me. I'm a kitsune, well, half kitsune. My mother was a kitsune, and my father was a radiant. So you can shapeshift? Yup, my fox form is actually my natural state. This form that you see now is just for show. That's amazing. You're probably the only one who thinks so. I'm the only shifter at Sarenvale. Therians don't typically get along with the Radiants. Why not? Who knows? Therians are territorial by nature, but the feeling is mutual. Radiant races tend to think the Therians are beneath them. And we Therians do have a tendency to go with our animal instincts at times, which can be troublesome. So yeah, here at Sarenvale, surrounded by nothing but Radiants, I'm a total outcast. Kinda like you, human. I give a wry smile, not quite sure how he can be so casual about being looked down upon. I guess that means we've got something in common. United in exile. Sounds like a story for the ages. So why did you transfer to Sarenvale? Kai shrugs and remains silent for a moment, turning his focus back on our experiment. It's okay if you don't want to tell me. Nah, it's no big deal. I just got in some trouble, that's all. The headmaster at Riverscar thought I'd be better off here. It's clear he doesn't want to give details, so I decide to let it go. We focus on our lab assignment, and despite my reservations, I managed to get through it without blowing the place up. This is a huge improvement from last week. Well, I'll try not to take all the credit for that, but I have been known to be a calming presence. Is that so? I can't help but laugh at his bravado, even though I have a feeling it's mostly for show. The rest of the class goes smoothly, and I have to admit, I do feel more calm in Kai's presence. We finish up our assignment and begin to head out. Catch you later, human. He gives me another wink before he disappears into the crowd of students. I hurry out of the alchemy class and head for today's elective. Today we focus on learning some of the most common symbols and their meanings. For instance, a goat might symbolize fertility, while an acorn of a tree symbolizes strength and power. I think we've had that one. Logic increased by 4, endurance has increased by 4. Can I check my profile? Okay, logic, insight, theory. I'm sitting in math class on Wednesday morning when I see it, that same flash inside my mind. Oh no, not here, not in the middle of class. This is the first time it has happened to me in broad daylight when I'm wide awake, with my eyes open. But my eyes might as well not be open, because the image completely takes over my vision, as if I'm blinded. Thankfully, no one seems to have noticed what just happened to me. Unfortunately, I can no longer concentrate on equations. I'm too busy thinking about the images I saw. I struggle through the rest of the class, thankful when it's finally over. As I'm making my way through the grounds, a whispering voice in my ear makes me practically jump out of my skin. Well, if it isn't the toxic beauty. I turn to see a familiar smirking face very close to mine. Somehow he managed to sneak up behind me. Don't call me that. We never got to finish our conversation in the courtyard. After your attempt to poison me with those fumes, I figured you owe me a little more attention. I don't owe you anything. Besides, I don't have time to stand around and chat. I actually have to attend classes, you know. That must be a drag. Well, some of us don't really have a choice if we want to graduate. Again with the school talk, you clearly need a break from school. He's not completely wrong about that. My first week of school in this new place has been particularly draining, but I'm not about to admit he's right. Why don't you come to my room tomorrow night? What? Ray gives a look of confusion at my outrage, and then breaks into laughter. Oh, not for that reason, though I'd certainly enjoy that as well. I'm having a little get-together in my room. Plenty of other people will be there. It's in the East Dorm tomorrow night. Isn't it against the rules to visit East Dorms at night? I remember reading in the handbook that it was severely frowned upon for female students to be in the men's dorm house after hours. I had thought it was a pretty archaic rule, but this place has all sorts of rules I'm not used to. Do you really care that much about the rules? I do kind of care about the rules, but I decide not to share that information. It's none of his business. I give a non-committal shrug in response. Seeing that I'm not going to give him the response he's looking for, he takes my hand and scribbles a number onto the back of it. Hey! I protest, but it's too late. I look down at my hand and see what I assume to be a room number written on it. Just come to that room tomorrow night if you change your mind. 10 p.m. Don't get caught. With that, he just saunters off, leaving me standing alone on the pathway. It's time for my first club meeting. The moment I arrive at my first mystery club meeting, I'm practically tackled by the excited girl that recruited me the first week. Oh my god, you actually came. Well, you made a pretty convincing pitch. I know, I just wasn't sure if you were actually interested. But oh my god, this is so great. There hasn't been an oracle at this school in hundreds of years, so I bet we can learn all kinds of interesting things from you. Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, I know you're still new, but you won't be for long. Oh gosh, how rude of me. I know all about you, but you don't know anything about me. I'm Tanya, and I'm a Spectiri. That's a radiant that controls colors. How does someone control color? Well, it's actually more complicated than it sounds. All Spectiri have different levels of control. Some can use colors to blend in with their surroundings, and some can even convert the colors around them into light, which has all sorts of uses. But tell her what you can do with color, Tanya. A voice chimes out from the entry of the room, and Tanya gives a little sigh as she turns towards it. Hello, Dex. Heather, have you met Dex? He just joined the club too. We did meet, sort of. Decimus is my actual name, but since most people can't seem to pronounce it, I've settled for Dex. Don't let me interrupt your conversation. You were about to tell the new student what you can do. No, I wasn't. Oh, come on, don't be embarrassed. Tanya gives another sigh and turns back towards me. Dex is just giving me a hard time because I'm not exactly the shining example of a spectator in our community. My ability is kind of useless. Tanya hesitates, but Dex continues for her, enjoying himself way too much. She makes pretty light shows. Light shows? Show her, Tanya. Once again she hesitates, and I'm about to tell her not to listen to Dex's prodding, but she smiles. It's okay, I don't mind. Here it goes. She does a small flourish with her hand, and a color image appears in the air around us like a pinwheel made of light. It's really quite pretty. I could see humans back in my world paying actual money to see something like this, like a magical fireworks display. She flicks her wrist again, and the colors stop, but I find myself wanting to watch more. That was actually really cool. Why do you think your ability is bad? Oh, it's not bad per se, it just has no practical use in the real world. The rest of my family has far better abilities. One can turn light into weapons, and another can create powerful illusions using only color in the room. But that's why I've decided to focus my energy on this club. I know I can uncover some great secrets of this place that have been buried for ages. That's how I plan to be useful. You may actually have a chance now that you have more members. It's then that I notice the club room is actually quite empty. There's a small handful of students chatting among themselves, but much less than I anticipated. I suppose that's why Tanya was recruiting so heavily last week. Well, you're right about that. I am thrilled that more people have decided to join our club, even you, Dex. Dex gives a little sneer, but I can tell he's actually pretty interested in the club himself. His attitude last week proved as much. Which reminds me, since you two are new, I'm afraid you'll have to go through the test. We all had to do it. It's very important to the integrity of the club. There's a test? Well, you see, I need to know you two are serious about this. In the past, we've had some issues with people who tried to join the club, but they didn't actually believe, you know? What are you going to make us do? It's really not a big deal, and once you've done it, you're golden. What is it, Tanya? You have to spend 1 hour in the cold room. I stare, having no idea what this means, but Dex bursts out laughing. Oh, is that all? Yes, that's all, but you shouldn't take it so lightly, Dex. Okay, Tanya, we'll do it. We will? Yes, we will. I wait for Tanya to explain further, but she doesn't. Instead, she moves to the front of the room and calls the group to attention. Everybody, as we've already discussed, our 2 new members will complete their initiation today. The other students are all nodding in approval. I'm not sure if I should feel nervous, but Dex doesn't seem to be concerned. Maybe it's no big deal? Maybe I just have to sit and endure a cold room for a while? I can do that. Okay, you two, come with me. We followed Tanya out of the classroom and down the hall. After walking for several moments, I realized we are headed toward the Winter Quad. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. If this school has any mysteries, why wouldn't they be in an old abandoned wing? Tanya stops outside the door near the end of the hallway. This is the cold room. As I said before, all you have to do is spend 1 hour in here. If you do, you pass the test. Got it? Am I allowed to know what's in there? Part of the test is going in with an open mind. Anything I tell you beforehand may cloud your thoughts. She pulls out the largest key I've ever seen and inserts it into the lock. The door opens and she ushers us inside. I notice right away that the room is not in fact cold, nor is it creepy or desolate. It has the appearance of any ordinary classroom or study hall. However, for a room that's supposedly abandoned, it seems as if it's been used recently. There's little dust on any surface, and books line the desktops as if students had just been in here studying mere hours ago, not decades ago. I thought this place was supposed to be deserted. It is. These rooms haven't been in use for a long time. Don't let its appearance fool you. Things aren't always as they seem. On that ominous note, she switches gears. So are you ready? Just stay in here until I come and get you, okay? I have so many questions, but she doesn't give me the chance. Tanya hurries out the room, closing the giant door behind her. I hear the loud click of the key in the lock. No getting out now, I guess. As soon as she's gone, I turn to Dex. So, are you going to tell me what the deal is with this room? You seem to know all about it already. Some people think it's haunted. Well, is it? No, of course not. Ghosts don't exist. I'm actually kind of surprised to hear this. I've seen all manner of creatures here that I thought didn't exist. But ghosts? Ghosts are something that many humans still believe in. To find out that they aren't real is a little unexpected. Why is it called the cold room? Supposedly, when the ghost appears, the room becomes colder, but only hopeful idiots believe that story. I've never met anyone that has actually seen the ghost itself. If people have experienced a chill in this room, it's certainly not caused by a ghost. So you haven't actually spent time in this room before now? No, why would I? It's just a stupid story. Plus, this room is usually locked. I'm not actually sure how Tanya managed to get the key. Do you think the headmaster gave it to her for the club? If that's the case, then he must not believe the ghost stories either. If there were something dangerous in here, he'd never offer up the key to a student. Or maybe he doesn't know she has it. It's possible. Tanya is not known for following the rules on the best of occasions. We lapse into silence, both of us sitting on the floor of the room. There are no working lanterns in here, but the windows cast enough moonlight that we aren't completely in the dark, at least. After maybe half an hour has passed, I decide I can no longer sit still, and I begin to wander around the room. It seems as if the real test here is not to succumb to boredom while waiting for the hour to pass. I move about the room idly, picking up books and flipping through them. They're obviously course books, but none of them are familiar to me. As I walk the perimeter of the room, I feel a sudden chill down my spine. Is it actually getting colder in here? Are the stories true after all? I pause, trying to gather my senses around me. No, it feels completely normal again. The chill is gone. Maybe it was a draft? Maybe I just imagined it. I must be thinking of what Dex said about the room getting cold, and my mind decided to play tricks on me. I continued my walk around the room silently. How much longer do we have? Probably only a few minutes have passed, but it feels like an eternity. Dex has his eyes closed. I guess he decided a nap was a good way to pass the time. Can't say I blame him. As I repeat my slow circle around the room, I feel it again, the coldness. I stop abruptly and take a step back. The chill is gone. I step forward again, definitely colder. I look around wildly, searching for anything that would be causing a draft, a vent, a window, but I can't see anything of the sort. My logical brain wants to explain it away, but then again, that logic has already been tested multiple times in the few short days that I've been here at Sarenvale. I step out of the cold spot, unnerved. Should I wake Dex? He'd probably just tell me I'm imagining it. I don't really have time to debate the matter with myself any longer, because a voice suddenly whispers in my ear. You. I let out a yelp and run towards the other end of the room. Dex is immediately on his feet, startled. What? What happened? I stare wordlessly towards the corner I had just vacated. Dex follows my gaze. Did you see something over there? No, but it was cold, and I think I heard something. Dex gives me a wary glance, but moves towards the corner anyway. There, just a little to the left. Do you feel it? Dex circles around the area, looking towards the floor and ceiling. No, I don't feel anything. Really? Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. Everything is normal. You're just letting the story freak you out. There's nothing here. So the cold spot is gone? How can that be? I'm not about to go back to the corner to confirm. So I'll have to take his word for it. I bet if I hadn't told you the story, you wouldn't have even felt anything. Once you'd convinced yourself the room was colder, you manifested the voice as well. It's all in your mind. A few moments later, the door to the room opens, and light from the hallway spills into the room. Tanya appears, her eyes alight. You both made it. You didn't leave the room. Was that even an option? Yes, silly, I didn't lock the door back when I left. I just made you think I had locked it. If you had gotten scared, you would have tried the door and realized it was open. But it looks like you both have nerves of steel. You're going to make excellent members of the Mystery Club. Hooray. Dex's voice is dripping with sarcasm, but he can't seem to ruin Tanya's mood. She socks him playfully on the arm, then puts her arm around me. We're going to have so much fun. As we exit the darkness of the room, I glance back. What is actually in there? Is there actually a ghost? I may need to come back to that room sometime to find out for sure. I arrive back to my room, another day at Sarum Vale complete. Alright, well, I guess that's where we're going to go ahead and end today. In the next one, we'll continue on with our week. I don't know what's coming up, so we will see. But yeah, that's going to be everything for this time, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!